In my previous video, I taught you about how to build book Bibles and series Bibles using Scrivener. Today is part 2 of that same series, where I'm going to talk to you about how to build book Bibles using Microsoft Word or Google Docs. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the Mythic Quill. I'm Leclerc. Today is the second part of a 2-part series on how to build book Bibles and series Bibles. In the last video, I taught you about how to do that using Scrivener. And today I'm going to show you how to do that using Microsoft Word and Google Docs. So right now I'm going to switch over to my computer so I can demonstrate for you how I did that just like last time. So this is part 2 of the 2-part series on how to build a book Bible and series Bible. And I'm using the same book that I used in the last video, which is my novel Shandali, which is Dragonflight Masters Book 1, and it's due to be released in the fall. So the best way I've found to create a book Bible and series Bible using Word is to use styles. So if you go to the Home tab on top, and you have the styles opening up here. So this is on widescreen. If you had it on, like, might not be as wide on your screen. Now, this is my title. So if you look here, what's going to show here, this is my book title. Okay. Now I'm going to have, and I have parts. So if you put on the navigation bar, so if you go View, Navigation pane, then it will show you this, what you're building on the side here. Okay. So when I put it in, I put Part A characters. You can see there's nothing on here right now, but I could add information there, like maybe what kind of information I want to put in it. So, and for this, I have at home, I have it as a heading 1, Part A characters as heading 1. Okay. Then underneath the heading 1, that's where I'm going to put the characters. So what I did here was, after I did Part A characters, I went to another page. So you can either hit Control Enter to create a new page, or you can go Insert, Page Break. Okay. And then you're on a new page. So that's where I put my characters. So this is the parts that I'm including for the sections. So I have a part on characters, Part A characters. Then I have Part B places. Then I have Part C weapons. Okay. Those are all under heading 1. Now for the things I'm putting underneath each heading or in each section, this will be a heading 2. So Shandali is a heading 2. Now, if you remember, and what I included here was exactly the same stuff that I had last time. Okay. So what I have here is basically a copied and pasted version of that character profile sheet that I got from Reedsy, because this is a really detailed one, and this is for my main character, right? So this is why we have such a detailed one here. I didn't keep in the hyperlinks, although they would have worked here. Okay, now for Yaxopardu, which is her dragon, I'm going to go Control Enter. Now Yaxopardu is on a new page, and she is a heading 3. So underneath our heading 2s, we have heading 3s. Okay. So each character, heading 2. So the character section is heading 1. The main characters underneath are heading 2. If they have a related character, those are going to be heading 3. Okay. So again, Kristan is a heading 2. If you see here, Ori is heading 2. And then again, Ori's dragon is a heading 3 because it's related there. And each of these is a new page. So after I'm done with one character, I hit either Control Enter or I do Insert Page Break. Okay. So you can hit Control Enter or Insert Page Break. If this was a different character who wasn't related to Shandali, I would put it as a heading 2, but because it's related to Shandali and I want to emphasize that, I'm putting it as a heading 3. As you can see, for the characters who are not main characters, I'm just putting in role and story, occupation, physical description, personality, habits and mannerisms, background, internal conflicts, external conflicts, and notes. And again, like I said last time, you don't need to include all of these things for every character. So I just pretty much did copy and paste, so they're all in there for each character, but I don't necessarily fill it in unless there's a reason for it. Okay, but I do include all of that for now because it's just a matter of copying and pasting, right? Copy and then paste. But if I put in a minor character, say in chapter 1, and then I decide he'll work better as, well, we'll see him more often down the road, then I might want to add more stuff. So home, he should be heading 2. Yep. Ori is heading 2. Now you see Shandali has this little down arrow because she has a character related to her underneath, which is her dragon. Ori is the same thing. She has a little down arrow because there's one related to her. Rixon is the same thing because these guys are flight masters. Okay. And Prince Rafian and Mirwan are the same for now. Okay. But all of the other characters who don't have anyone related to them are just their own. Now, like with the first, like what I did on Scrivener, if you've watched the first video on Scrivener, you'll notice that in Scrivener, it's really easy to move the files. You just kind of drag and paste. So we can do the same thing with these guys too, but now I'll need to change King Rexton. So I just need to go to his name. Now I'll need to change him to a heading 3. Okay, so if I want to reorganize them in families, I would have to, it's easy, still easy because I have the navigation bar open, and because I'm using the headings, I'm building this kind of table of contents on the side because I have the headings open. So I would just go to the person, click and hold and drag like I did in Scrivener, but again, I need to go back to that character's page, highlight the title of the page, and then change the heading number. This heading 3. Okay. All right. So now these are all under Shandali because they're all family members. Oh, I forgot Prince Talon. Same thing with him. I'm going to click and hold. I'm going to move them up here. Then I'm going to highlight the title and I'm going to change it to a heading 3. So now I've reorganized them to be part, like underneath the main character because they're all members of her family. So we could do that. We could organize it by family relations. We can organize it by kingdom. Because this is a fantasy novel. It has 9 kingdoms. I can organize all the people according to their kingdoms. I can organize them according to family. You decide how you want to organize it. So if you are just adding them as you go, which you can do, which is actually what I suggest doing so you don't miss someone. If you're adding them as you go, then, and you're not worrying about organize them as you go, you can still go back afterwards and organize them, even in Word. Okay. So like I said, in Scrivener, it was really easy. You just click and drag, but it's the same thing here. If you're using styles and you're using your headings correctly, it's just a matter of click, hold, and drag it to where you want it to be. Okay. That's it. If I wanted to go back and add another character, I just go to the characters and I go to the end of that and I will go either Control Enter. So I have another page and I enter, I could say Bob, for example. Then I would highlight his name and I would call him heading 2 because he's under the section of heading 1. Okay, characters are heading 1, so this is a heading 2. So even if I've gone ahead and started the next section, like on places or weapons or whatever, I can still go back and add and I can still reorganize them. So as long as you're using styles, it's easy to organize and reorganize and to add sections. So I don't have a lot of places added in right now because this is just for demonstration purposes. So, but what I did do was I put the 9 kingdoms in there, which is my main world, right? As I was saying, because this is a world building. I did leave in the hyperlinks this time though, okay? So if I put in these sections, I can actually use the hyperlinks. All right, so now we're back in my main document. I've actually copied and pasted the whole world building template, as you can see. But the problem with doing this is that now my headings are all messed up. So I would need to go in and change some things to tidy it up. And what I can do is I can go to the basics and I can call that, highlight it, and I'm going to call it a heading 2. Actually, it's going to be under the 9 kingdoms, so I'm going to call it heading 3. So I'm going to call each section under this a heading 3. So I just have to go and change them. And then underneath each section, like flora and fauna, I'm going to change those to heading 4. Okay. Creatures, I'll change that to a heading 4. Landscape, I'll change to a heading 4. Because I want to save the heading 2s for different places. So right now, this is the whole 9 kingdoms. But if I wanted to put in specific places, I'm going to use the heading 2 for that. So locations of significance, I'm going to call that a heading 3. So under places, the 9 kingdoms is a heading 2. Each section here, like the basics, locations of significance, I'm going to change to heading 3s. So part B is part heading A, the 9 kingdoms is part heading 2. Each section under that each main section, like the basics, will be a heading 3. The natural world is a heading 3. Locations of significance will be heading 3. And then all of the parts underneath each section will be heading 4s. Okay. Flags and symbol will be a heading 4. Now, weather is also a main, kind of a main section under there. So I'm going to call that a heading 3. And then climate will be heading 4. People. Again, saving the heading 2s for the main places in this, and this is under the 9 kingdoms. So this is going to be a heading 3. Races and species will be a heading 4. Physical build will be a heading 4. Mannerisms will be a heading 4. Customs and rituals will be a heading 4. Festivals will be a heading 4. And then our languages will be heading 3. The parts underneath the languages, like sayings, that will be heading 4. Accents will be a heading 4. Greetings will be a heading 4. Social framework will be a heading 3. Underneath the social frameworks, we'll have class or caste system will be heading 4. Family structure will be a heading 4. Marriage will be a heading 4. So you get the idea, right? So I would go through all of this and do the same thing. So I'm changing all these headings. They're already organized in headings and subheadings in the main document. Okay, so if I built it on my own, I wouldn't have to worry about that because I could do the headings as I go. But because I didn't do the whole, I'm not doing it by hand, I'm copying and pasting a different one, I have to do these by hand. So right now, technology, magic, and weapons is a heading 1 because that's what it was in the template, the world building template. But in my document, my book Bible, it's going to be heading 3, or series Bible, obviously, because the world is going to be the same. Magic systems heading 4. That means rules of magic will be a heading 5. Practicing magicians will be heading 5. Technology is heading 3. Weaponry is going to be a heading 3. Signature weapons will be heading 4. Common weapons will be a heading 4. Economy will be heading 3. Trade and commerce will be a heading 4. Currency will be a heading 5. Media imports and exports, heading 5. Natural resources, heading 5. Transportation will be heading 3. Business will be a heading 3. Politics will be a heading 3. Government will be a heading 4. Law will be a heading 3. Justice systems will be a heading 4. War systems will be a heading 4. Okay, and now I'm into my next section. So I have the whole ultimate world building template from readsy.com underneath here, and I have all of the headings organized so that it works inside my book Bible. So pretty much I'm taking the heading types from the world building template and moving them all down a heading. Okay, but if I don't do that, it's going to be like if I go to collapse apart, it won't disappear, right? So I can open up the parts. Now, again, these were all considered heading, like the world building template, the basics, these were all heading 3s and heading 4s, because if I want to enter a specific place, that's not just the whole 9 kingdoms, I'm going to go heading 2. So I can go here. Actually, I'll go to the end, war systems. I'll go to weapons. I'm actually going to go to the beginning of weapons and go Control Enter in hopes that I can fix the alignment here. Yeah, okay, the alignment's fixed. Heading 2, and I'm going to add Airy. There's my heading 2. There. Now my alignment is fixed. All right, so weapons, same thing. Part C, weapons is heading 1 because it's a parse. The major weapons will be a heading 2. If there was anything that I needed to put underneath that, again, it would be heading 3. I don't think there would be for weapons. So I have a choice. I have a separate section for weapons, or I could put it into my ultimate world building template because there is a section in that template for weaponry. So basically, you need to use styles and your headings in order to build a series Bible that works, that you can easily open the sections and close the sections. And if you're using your headings properly, that means you should be able to click, hold, and drag to move people around, right? Then you can change your headings if you want them to be organized by family or whatever. You can change the headings so they all go together. So the key is using the styles and the heading types and opening your navigation bar so you can see what you have on the side. So if I want to work particularly on characters, I could just minimize part C weapon, part P places. If I wanted to work on weapons, I could open that section up. So I'm looking at the different sections. Okay. If I minimize all of it, it looks really neat. I just have my 3 parts here, right? Each section is minimized. It's really organized. Then I can open it to work on characters. I can go right at characters if I want to add a new one. And I can insert, page break, and I'll go to the end, page break, and then I can add another character. Just make sure that the new characters underneath part A will be at heading 2. Google Docs has headings and like styles, just like Microsoft Word does. Book Bible. Okay. So in here, I can go, they have normal text, they have title, subtitle, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and you can go further than that too. Okay. So my title, I'm going to call it, and the next line I'm going to call my subtitle. If you hit just enter, it's going to go back to normal text. You can modify styles here as well. So if I want them to be centered or whatnot, because right now they're not. So I can apply a subtitle, I can update to match. So for example, if I want it to be centered in my document, I can go subtitle, then I can go update subtitle to match. So they'll always be like that. Then I can, again, I can just hit Control Enter, just like I did in Microsoft Word, and I'll have a new page. Then I can use my heading 1 for my parts. So I can have parts A, characters. Then I can go Control Enter and again go heading 1. And I'm going to have part B, places. Now I want to change where my headings are. Like if I want to make that centered, I can go centered, and then I can go to heading 1, update heading 1 to match. And then after that, anytime I use the heading 1, it will go center. Okay. Again, I'm going to go Control Enter. Now I have a new page, part C, weapons, just because of what I was doing before. Okay. And then under each part, if I go again, if I hit Control Enter again, I have a new page, and I can start a character. Okay, so I can call Shandali a heading 2. Control Enter, so she's on her own page. Oh. Hit Shift Enter instead of Control Enter. Okay. And again, if I want to change the setting heading 2 so that they're centered, I can do that. I can go center. I can go update heading 2 to match. Now I can put in whatever I want to put in. So now we have normal text. So if I want to put in, if I want to copy and paste that character profile sheet, I could, or I can just go to the main things that I put in on my other one. Now I'm just going to copy and paste this stuff because I'm going to use the same information for each person. So I'm going to go Control Enter and make a new page. Heading 2, and I'm going to put my next character. And then I'm going to copy and paste that same information I just put in. Now, again, I'm going to go Control Enter to make a new page. Let's see. I'm going to put Prince Talon. So now I just have to hit apply to get it to center because I've changed how it is. I updated it to match. So same thing, I'm going to put in the same information I did for the other characters. Okay. Now, the downside to using Google Docs is you can't just click, hold, and drag like you can for Scrivener or for Microsoft Word. So if you wanted to change something or move something around, you would have to copy it, delete it, or cut it, and then move it to the place you want it to be. So you'd have to go and highlight sections, cut. Then I'd have to go to Shandali. Then I go after Shandali, Control Enter to make a new page. Then I'd have to paste it. So it's either right click paste or Control V to paste it. And then if I wanted to show he was part of her family, I would change the heading type to heading 3. Okay, so it's a little more complicated in Google Docs to reorganize things because you can't just click and drag the sections. You have to actually physically cut and paste. Okay, if you have any questions or if there's a topic you'd like to see me cover in the future, please put that in the comment section below.